Thank you for clicking on the video. Welcome back to the channel. This is another review for Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 6, Episode 22. Not about the KeKe and HaHa. We still at the barbecue. KeKe and her husband, they done got put out the function. Kicking and screaming. They go out kicking and screaming. Melody and Stormy, they go out, out there to carry the scene forward. Maurice and Kimmy, they feel like KeKe's husband, Amin, they feel like he, instead of, jumping in to fight Marceau, you should have been pulling your wife to the side and stopping her from throwing drinks and whatever else she did out there, to stir up and cause confusion. But, he gonna step. He gonna step when it comes to his wife. End of discussion. KeKe says she like, I'm gonna pass the drug test. I'll pass the drug test. But will you pass a lie detector test? She says she'll take it when you take a lie detector test. She wants you to take and pass a lie detector test. Like I said, Melody and Stormy, they check on KeKe. Melody's like, girl, did she say something? Did she do something? Did she put her hands on you? What made you throw a drink? What caused all that? It wasn't, I don't think it was all that. KeKe says that it was just kind of like a knee-jerk reaction. She was just mad. She was triggered, and she explains what triggered her. Basically, it was Tisha not engaging with her. That's basically what it is. What set it off initially, because she came in and spoke to her. Now, granted, she did. She did come in and say hello. And you decided to be rude to her as opposed to speaking to her. And it might not have changed nothing, but when it comes to the chains of events and people matching energies and all of that, you gotta think that through. You gotta think it through. Is she somebody that's going to be an adult and, when they're ignored, just laugh it off and walk away, or, even use their words in a more diplomatic way, because it's rude. It's rude. It was rude of Tisha to stand up and completely ignore the fact that she said hello. You spoke to my husband, but you didn't say nothing to me. Like, it was rude and intentional. And we're not going to pass over that just because KeKe is the one that's rah, rah, rah. Tisha adds she adds. She adds to it. She's very passive aggressive. And that often gets by people, which is why people take that route when they trying to do their whole mental warfare situation. Is be passive aggressive, because they gon' act out and they gonna look crazy. Whole time you sitting back and you the damn puppeteer manipulating the situation. Whole agent of chaos. Tisha and Marceau be on bullshit. I'm like, nobody's innocent in this. Sorry, nobody. Nobody but the innocent bystanders who had to sit back and watch the melee. They the only innocent folk. Everybody involved in that altercation, that back and forth, all of that. Marceau, Tisha, KeKe, all three of y'all got blame, to throw around. And KeKe's husband was just, collateral damage, because he gonna, like I said, he gonna step by his wife. Anyway. Mel says that she tries to get her to see things through a different lens. She's like, there have been something different you could have done. Like I said, you could have reacted differently. You didn't have to go from 0 to 100 just because the girl didn't speak to you. Was it rude? Absolutely. 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 But when people are like that, as I'm learning in growth, when people are passive aggressive with you and when people do that to you, it to trigger you, don't let it do it. Don't give them what they're asking for. Give it back to them. You can be passive aggressive right back at her. It should have been like, oh, excuse me, go ahead, go to the bathroom. And sat down and played cards. Ignore it. Ignore it. Like she's ignoring you. Ignore it. Anyway. Tisha and Marceau, they out there sharing their side with Kimmy. You know, they're the victims. Blah, blah, blah. Tisha may have been a victim in this situation because she got a drink thrown on her. Now, that was a bit much, and she was drenched. I know she was drenched and embarrassed. She's trying to sit up there like she tough, but I know she cried when them cameras wrapped. I know she cried about it. Because that's humiliating. That's humiliating. Melody, she goes back into the party. She checks on Tisha and Marceau. You know, she being messy. Melody being messy. Melody is being messy, and I think she likes it. And, you know, I don't mind. I don't mind. Do your thing. Because when it was you that was the center or the topic of conversation, when it was you that was... especially when it came to Tisha. Tisha couldn't wait to sit up amongst anybody she could and talk about Melody and Martell. And what Melody don't know about Martell. And what's going on with Melody and Martell. And so now it's her turn. So, yeah, Melody gonna keep that story rolling. She gonna keep it rolling. She gonna keep it relevant. She asking KeKe, you okay, girl? You all right? You need another shirt to put on? Tisha like, oh no, this little shirt is gonna dry. Tisha's shirt was too little, honestly. A lot of her stuff be too small. She need to dress for her body frame. I think most women should figure out what your body shape is, what your body frame is, and dress for that frame, not for the frame that you see the Instagram girlies. Not them. Or even your favorite fashion girly. She might not be your size. So don't follow her. You can follow her for the looks, but like, it's not going to look the same on you. Because you have a different body shape. Tisha, girl. Anyway. Tisha needs to stay away from that cheap spandex stuff. That Fashion Nova look. That ain't it. Not for her body type. Anyway. Let me digress. Anybody ask me my 2 cents. Tiffany, she shows up. She brings the baby. Lewis is working, of course, so he's not there. I think Lewis is done. What y'all think? I think Lewis say, I'm not finna be around here. That's your gig, and you can film and do all the filming. She said her +1 is the baby, so she brought the baby. They're out there, you know, shooting the shit. And Jalen pulls up in the backyard in Kimmy's Jeep. Kimmy looks up. She immediately knows it's hers. Oh, that's mine. That's absolutely mine. She go and get her Jeep. Her best friend runs over. They pull out and go for a drive. You know, forget everything else that's going on. Kimmy don't care about none of that. She got a new Jeep. She got the Jeep she been asking for. So we're happy for that. Tisha, she's talking to their other cousin Courtney. And, you know, she's like, you missed it, girl. You missed all the mess. Your cousin was in here acting up. Tisha, she says, she tells her that KeKe's been calling around asking, you know, for dirt on her and Marceau. About her and Marceau. And when she asked her about it, she lied. You know, Tisha's whole thing is KeKe be lying, and KeKe's always lying to her. Cousin is like, well, I mean, there are rumors. You know, so I don't know if you want to call them lies, girl. There are rumors out there. We have all heard them, not just KeKe. But Tisha says that the rumors have been swirling for 5 years. And a lot of people feel like that. Just because that there hasn't been a woman to come forward like Arian Curry did. But Arian Curry has said it herself. I believe her. I believe her. What she got to lie about? Her whole face and name has been all over the blogs, all over the place behind Martell. So she was proud to be, you know, in the role she was in. But she's also mentioned Marceau. So I believe her. I don't know why anybody is not believing it just because there's no woman to come forward, or we ain't seen no picture, or we ain't seen no text thread or nothing like that. I mean, it has been 5 years, and whoever you are, lady, it's time to put up or shut up. But I do believe. I do believe. We're not just gonna keep this going and it's nothing. It's something. Anyway, Tiffany, she wasn't even there, but she had a little salt on it. She's like, well, you can't get into it with people that have nothing to lose, so KeKe ain't got nothing to lose. That lady is a whole mother too. She got something to lose. she can lose them kids. She can lose, her husband. She got some stuff to lose. But I get where you're driving at. Cousin Courtney, she confused. Tisha says that she doesn't know this KeKe that Tisha has experienced, so she can't really speak to that. KeKe been a good cousin to her. So she not finna sit up and badmouth her, and bash her in any kind of way. But Tisha, she knows KeKe to be a liar. Mel, in her confessional, she's, just like, Tisha can believe whatever she wants concerning Marceau. And that's fine. But she can't be mad at everybody else because we don't believe it. And I'm right there with you, Mel. Right there with you. Marceau, of course, he has to bring up the Crime Stoppers and her addiction. And once again, makes jokes, snide remarks, and all of that about her addiction. It's just crass. He wouldn't be calling her no dope heads, to her husband. He probably wouldn't have made that comment a second time, but he don't take it back. Stormy, she asked about his energy with Courtney and if he was on that same thing, because Marceau was saying when it comes to Tisha getting into it with other women or me getting into it with another woman, I'm more than likely gonna throw a dagger at her husband because I need to be sparring with your husband and not you. And so that's just how he feels. And she's like, oh, so that's what you was on with Courtney, calling him Mr. Steele. They end up shaking hands and squashing their whatever beef that they had. Stormy really was like, I mean, I called you a bitch, but she feel like, it was warranted. That's what she was being at the moment. And and you didn't even say you was mad about it, so. But he was. It did offend him. It is offensive. You don't say that. Women, we know that. We know that when it comes to men, calling them a bitch is emasculating. And so, yeah, you did it to get a rise out of him. And then he said something back to get a rise out of you and your husband. It just was a tit for tat. And I think they can agree on that. But they end up shaking hands and, moving past that. Courtney, she says, like I said, that she hasn't experienced the KeKe that they're experiencing, as far as like when she's high. Like, she hasn't seen her act out due to the drugs, because her whole thing is, because Marceau is saying that her throwing that drink, she had to been high. She had to been on something at the moment. And Courtney and Stormy feel otherwise. They feel like, it could have just been she's angry and she didn't really know how to control it in the moment. She acted out physically out of anger, not because she's high off drugs. Like, why are we going straight to that? And so Courtney says she's never experienced this while she's high. Now, maybe the sweats, sis be having the sweats. She just told on her. So now every time she's sitting up here on this TV, fanning, hot and fidgety, it's pretty obvious that KeKe is using. It's unfortunate. It really is. And it's not funny. It's not funny, and it's not something to make jokes about or make light of. And so that's, Courtney don't like that. Courtney, every time Marceau does it, Courtney's like, stop. Please stop. Marceau, no. Not too much on my cousin. You need to watch your mouth. We're not doing that. Kimmy, she's like, well, I mean, if we're not gonna, if we, why can't we talk about this publicly or say anything about her addiction publicly if she's out here throwing drinks publicly? But again, you can't equate her throwing drinks to being a drug user. Like, y'all, that's low hanging fruit, and y'all are late. It just doesn't. Why are we going there? Okay, yeah, she does that, but that ain't why. She was mad that your wife was ignoring her. She was mad, and she got a little TV moment. It's that Wanda effect, you know. Don't let Wanda get you off this show, girl, because Wanda was gone. And anyway, I'm done with this party. I'm really done with this party. Martell and Courtney, they meet up at the gym. Chris joins them. They train a little bit with Martell's trainer. And then, of course, we got to take a break and talk about the barbecue because Courtney wasn't there. And so they fill him in on what's going on. And Courtney automatically is like, see, Marceau better relax. He better relax, you know. He can understand wanting to come to blows with Marceau. Because they tell him about Marceau and Amin about the fight and all of that, you know, because KeKe threw a drink. Marceau likes to have his back and forth with the women. He really does. And then the husbands have to get involved. And now it's a situation. They bring up Stormy calling Marceau a bitch. And they're like, but your wife called him a bitch. Like, we're not gonna skate by that. That wasn't nice. And he agrees. He understands that. But his whole thing is, he didn't like that Mr. Steele comment. That was a dig to him. And why you throwing shots at me when you having a back and forth with my wife? What was that? And they agree. Yeah, that was too much. That was a lot. They think that they should have a conversation. Courtney's open to a conversation, but not a black. Chris gonna ask how Martell doing. Martell was like, you know how I'm doing. Looking for somewhere to damn live. He said he got 20-some days. He always got 20-some days. I was like, I got about 20-some days. Martell don't never know the exact number. He say Mel had 20-something babysitters. Now he got 20-something days. That 20-something, the magic number. That Chris gonna ask, is it here or you found somewhere here or in Atlanta? Because he did find somewhere. But was it here or in Atlanta? You gonna be at the Chateau, Sheree? You gonna be over there at Mel House? Where you gonna be? Just be out of the house so he can sell it, please. And Chris also shares that he and Courtney may be related. They from the same hometown, same small town, and they might have some relation. They might be cousins, and so they're gonna take a DNA test. Stormy suggested that they take a DNA test, so they're gonna do that. Okay, good TV. KeKe and Amin, they're at their storage unit because they're about to move, and so they're looking through boxes to see what they're gonna take. She don't really want to move, but they move into a new neighborhood in a new district, a new school district for one of their children, who's an athlete. So of course, you know, scholarship. But damn, the rest of them kids. The hell with the rest of the kids. They got a golden child. They're trying to get a scholarship in football. So that's why they moving. And she don't want to move, but I mean, it is what it is. While they out there, Melody just so happens to call. I don't know if she's driving by or what, but she calls and, you know, she says she want to just pull up on her right quick. And so she pulls up on her, and she literally came right away. Like, she pulled up within, like, they must have talking about send me the address. Girl, you was already pulling in. Send me the address. She wanted to lay eyes on her. She texted her a few times after the melee, but she wanted to see her and see how she was doing. She told Amin that, you know, they had a lot of nice things to say about him, and he like, psh, bullshit. So their version of things is different. KeKe and her husband say he's been mistreated since the day they met. They ain't never been nice to him. I don't know. I ain't round. So I don't know what to believe when it comes to that. Amin say they phony. Okay. They haven't spoken since the situation, but you know, it's time to move on. Mel holds her accountable yet again for that drink. Because you should have been throwing drinks, girl. Marceau jumped in because of that. And so, you know, that's what the trickling down effect was. You threw that drink. She says that Mel thinks that she should do some, you know, it could benefit her to do some therapy for some anger management. And she agrees. She ain't started, but she gonna look. She gonna look into it. She always gonna look into it. KeKe always responds to everything Mel says like she's talking to her PO. Like she has to say the right thing or she's caught being a drug addict. Anyway, long story short, Mel says, you know what? I think that you should prove these people wrong. And I think the best way to do that is to take a test. You know, you show them you on your game. Prove them wrong. Take that test, you know. And you know what? I got one right in my car. KeKe was like, yeah, girl, yeah. As soon as she said I got one in my car, her face was like. And she looked over at her husband. Help, nigga. Help me. She gonna weasel her way out of it, of course. She ain't gonna take no test. She gonna say, you know what? I'll take it when Marceau takes a lie detector. Oh, KeKe, girl, you got to put the pills down, girl. You got to stop. You got to stop. Of course, it's to be continued. She not gonna take the test, but we'll see next week that she doesn't take the test. And that should tell Mel everything she need to know. I mean, I probably wouldn't take that test either. Because, excuse me, what, girl? Don't come having me pee on the damn stick. What if I smoked the blunt yesterday? And then it's going to show up. And then you're going to be thinking I'm back on pills when I just smoked the blunt. Just dropping over here. You know what? She should take a test. Mel is so messy. Ooh, she messy. Anyway, be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It's Call Me Busby, and I'll chat with you later. Peace and light.